Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours. I can't describe my pain. I'm so angry right now. I've recorded 20 minutes of this Frontline Changes report and my OBS, the recording software, hang as I stopped the recording. So I have to re-record this again. So if I'm less excited or I feel interested, just understand that I've already gone through this once. So the situation report will be published on the DPA War channel because because of the coverage of the Thai and Cambodian conflict, the SIBRAP, a lot of interest is in the conflict right now. So there's no airtime for me to slot in the SIBRAP. So it will be on the War channel. And for those that does not subscribe to the DPA War channel, just search on YouTube DPA War. And you also find that I actually recently also did analysis on various frontline. So battlefield analysis. Do check it out. Subscribe over here so you don't miss anything. And we're going to jump straight to the Frontline Changes report. Why I have to repeat this all over again. So anyway, the first frontline change is over in the Sumy front. So Ukrainian forces managed to capture some place again, and it's still at the same place. It's still at Kindrativka. Ukrainian forces have claimed, based on Ukrainian mapping, have taken back this area here. Previously, around 2 days ago, the Russian forces have actually penetrated back into Kindrativka. This was the previous mapping. But based on the latest mapping from the Ukrainian side, the Ukrainian forces seems to have pushed Russians out again and re-established this. However, this is a claim. This is the Ukrainian mapping claim. This is not confirmed. So because previously this was geolocation, this is a bit more certain. But we shall see. We will wait for more information to see whether this is an accurate information. The advance here is around maybe one kilometer plus. So that's the frontline change in this sector. The next frontline change is more significant, is over at the Kupyansk front. So this is Kupyansk city. In the north of Kupyansk, we used to call this as part of the Zaporizhzhia front. But because of the developments around this area here, is closely tied to the situation with the battle for Kupyansk. And we have these two chunk of frontline change. So these are very, very significant frontline change because the Russians have breaked out from this area here. So I was going to zoom in. So geolocation of Russian forces have been noted along this railway line. And this is shocking because the Russians have not captured Tishchenkivka. So which means that the Russian forces basically have just flanked out and broke out of the Ukrainian lines from Kindrashivka and have advanced all the way up here. And with this geolocation does confirm that the impossible salient in the rear position, this entire area here is now taken by the Russian forces. There is no way the Ukrainians can be here anymore with the Russian forces so far out on the west of Kindrashivka. So the Russian forces have advanced in this sector here. South of this position, let me push this up. The Ukrainian mapping have mapped this slightly differently. Maybe they did not see the geolocation. They have mapped that the Russian forces have expanded the zone of control around Radkivka. So previously we have this geolocation of Russian forces here. And now they have the Ukrainian mapping have updated to expand the zone of control. This comes together with the previous geolocation that I have reported that the Russian forces have captured Holubivka and pushed south. So if we're going to zoom in, you will notice that the Russian forces not just entered into the north of Kupyansk from Holubivka in this region here. They have now also entered into the northern part of Kupyansk from Rakivka direction. They have entered here and they have also pushed into the gully or the forest region here towards Pokrovsk. So, and this is probably related to the potential flanking operation that the Russians seems to have suggest that they are wanting to do based on their claims. So the Russians are now entering into Kupyansk from 3 different directions, essentially because Pokrovsk is just a district of Kupyansk. And from this perspective, you can also see that almost the entire northern outskirts of Kupyansk city on this western bank of the Oski River is now entirely under Russian control. They have lost the entire northern regions of Kupyansk city. So Kupyansk city and the entire north is now just all Russian. So that is the main developments in this sector. And the speed of advance is very fast. Like in the south, from geolocation to geolocation is almost a kilometer. To Mokovka is 1.5 kilometers. This 1.5 kilometers, 1.7, almost 2 kilometers. So the Ukrainians clearly is struggling. They are falling back very quickly as they are unable to hold back the Russians. And over on the north, this breakout region is extremely breakout-ish. So from this position to the forest is 2.6 kilometers. So this is more than 2 kilometers, which means that the Russians have stormed in this area here unopposed. The Ukrainians are nowhere to be seen, and this is definitely a breakout. Like the Ukrainians have probably struggled with manpower and to hold the line, and the Russians have managed to break it out. And now what the question is, will the Russians continue to take advantage of the breakout and break out further and to collapse the entire front line in this sector? We do not know, because the Russians tend to be really conservative. They usually don't pounce on their breakout situation. Usually they don't. No, they do at times, but usually they are very slow. No, they don't like to push very hard. So we do not know what's the situation, but yeah, impossible salient is gone. This is all gone. So Russians break out. So let's see how this develop. And with the Battle of Kupyansk now starting with the advance into Kupyansk, yeah, this is getting very, very interesting. So this is the Kupyansk front. The next front line change, we jump all the way to Toretsk. I can't stand it. I have to repeat over again. So this is Toretsk city, and this is Yablon Nifka region. So previously we have updated the reports. We have geolocation of Russian forces over here. The latest geolocation shows that Russian forces raised the flag in two other different locations, confirming that the Russians have fully taken the entire eastern part of Yablon Nifka. And in the previous geolocation, we already shut down this impossible salient. But with this latest geolocation, we can confirm that the other area here, the other impossible salient just off Alexandro Kalinove is under Russian control. Because in our mapping, the Russian forces is still at Alexandro Kalinove, despite it was a long time since, but there is no evidence to say that they are not as well. So this geolocation confirmed that this area here, this salient here is now taken, because the Ukrainian forces can't possibly be there anymore, as they have really lost such an important and strategic position. And so this entire salient here is taken. And with this change means that this road here is now unable to be used. This road here is now under Russian control, is cut off. And based on Ukrainian mapping, the Russian forces also entered into the northern streets. The remaining part of Yablon Nifka that is yet to be captured by the Russian forces. And once the Russians have taken this entire street, Yablon Nifka will be entirely under Russian control. So that's the situation here. And just to expand on the significance in the cutting off of this road. So once there's only one road left right now for the Ukrainians to reinforce the rest of the Toretsk front, which is actually true here. So because this road is cut off, which means that this area here, this entire front line, has turned into an impossible salient. It's not super impossible, because the distance between the water body to the front line is 2 kilometers. But this is ultimately still a water body which the Ukrainians cannot cross, and the other road is now shut off due to the fall of Yablon Nifka and potentially Alexandro Kalinove. So with this situation, the Ukrainians can only resupply and reinforce and rotate from the other side, which is extremely hazardous. The Russians could just shut this off very easily with a concentrated attack. It's merely 2 kilometers. So even advanced by 1 kilometer would just turn this entire region into an encirclement. So the Toretsk front is now on the verge of a massive collapse. Like there is no way you can the Ukrainians can hold this back unless they can retake Yablon Nifka, which I don't think they have the capacity to do it right now. So a big frontline collapse is imminent from this area here. So yeah, that will be the end of the Toretsk front. So very, very significant situation in this sector here. The next frontline change after this is over at Novoekonomichny. So this is over at the Pokrovsk front. This is Pokrovsk, this is Minokhrad. Novoekonomichny is over here. So based on the latest mapping from the pro-Russian sources from Ryba, the pro-Russian source have mapped that the Russian forces have taken full control of Novoekonomichny. This comes after we have already have geolocation confirming the Russians' capture of the southern half of Novoekonomichny. So this is already half done. So what the Russian mapping basically have said is that the Russian forces have expanded the zone of control westward, as well as taking the rest of Novoekonomichny in the north. So logically speaking, there is nothing to dispute. I think this is pretty logical, pretty expected. There's nothing surprising about this because of the speed of the advance and the situation around here. And you can see that over a few days, all this frontline change just suggests that Ukrainians do not have the manpower to deal with the situation developing over in Pokrovsk. So this frontline change is not an impossibility. The advance in the south to westward is around 700 meters, 800 meters. So it means that the Ukrainian forces are still defending. They are putting up some resistance over in the eastern outskirts of Minokhrad. But in the north, this is less so. The east to west is around 2 kilometers. The north to south advance is also around 2 kilometers, which means this entire region is abandoned by the Ukrainian forces entirely. The Russian forces have just basically overrun the position. The Ukrainian forces have fall back to another defense line as they are probably outnumbered by the Russian forces significantly over the Pokrovsk front. I have covered about the manpower situation. I have done this update this around in February, and we estimated that based on I use the AI as a tool to find out what would be the estimates. It looks like the Ukrainians have only 6 months before the manpower situation will be so bad that they will not be able to defend properly. And we are now currently trending in that direction, and we are seeing this kind of situation becoming more and more common. Like in this area here in Pokrovsk, and just now over in the Kupyansk front, we are already seeing that the Ukrainian forces absolutely struggles to keep up to defend. These are all strategically super important places. And if the Ukrainians cannot defend such an important place, then we have to put into question whether they really have the manpower to continue to keep up. And this situation will only get worse because the replacement, the recruitment or the mobilization of troops is just much more weaker than the numbers are just not enough to replace the troops lost on a daily basis. So based on that calculation, we can ascertain that there's another 1 month more to go before the full prediction is fully fulfilled. So, but that is based on the estimate. That I would done that when Grok 3 was launched. So Grok 4 has came out. I actually have did another analysis with Grok 4 to have some updated numbers. I haven't recorded a video on it yet. But no, there's some updated numbers. Everything is still trending more or less the same. So we shall see in 1 month's time. We'll see how the front line will collapse. By the look of it, it's going to get worse. So no, this is already trending in that direction. So so this is the Pokrovsk front. The next front line change is over at Myro-Lubivka. So there is this one more small one over at Myro-Lubivka. So this is the Ukrainian disclaiming that the Russian force disclaiming this area here because the Ukrainians claim that they entered into the south. This is now they invalidated themselves. They say that the Russians have fully secured the south of Lvivka. This is nothing special about this because the Russian mapping is already very far away. So yeah, just a small change in that sector. The next frontline change is over at Voskresenka. So over in the Komar front, this is Komar and this is Voskresenka. So over in this south of Voskresenka, previously the Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have captured this farmland. Now they have expanded the zone of control to include this tree line of a junction. So if I zoom in, you can see that the Russian forces have taken this tree line as well as the junction of trees around this sector here. The advance is around 800 meters, which does suggest that the Ukrainian forces may have some resistance in this sector, so slowing down the Russian advance. So Ukrainians holding back here, not like a surprising thing. So no, just one finger, like poking there. So just a tip, and so that's all from Voskresenka. And there's one last frontline change is over in Zaporicia front. So happy birthday to you if your birthday today. And so at the Zaporicia front, press the like button, subscribe in case you forget. The Ukrainian mapping have updated the map. So this is Kanyamsky, and in the southern bank of the Oskil River, not Oskil River. This is like I'm not sure what river is this called. So there's this river here, and previously we have been reporting that the south is not entirely taken. The southern bank is not entirely taken by the Russian side. So now the Ukrainian mapping have updated to show that some of the street in the north has already been taken, and the entire south of the river, the southern bank of the river in Kanyamsky, is now fully secured by the Russian forces. So this is the latest update by the Ukrainian side. We're not sure when this happened. The Russian forces have already announced the capture of this area, of this town, since the 17th of July. And so the entire front line here is around 3 kilometers long. And then the advance here is arbitrary, is 800 meters, but I don't think it matters that much. So there is still quite some bit of Kanyamsky left that we cannot confirm the capture. So these parts, this area here, and the dachas. So some parts of Kanyamsky is still not secured. So we have not declared the full capture of Kanyamsky to the Russian side. So anyway, that's all the frontline changes report, and we're going to go into calculation. So let's do the background over here. So we have the biggest frontline change is over at Kupyansk. So the Russian forces captured this area here due to the breakout, the closure of the impossible salient. This leads to 14.07 square kilometers in the entire front line. So this is the biggest one. Second biggest is the Pokrovsk due to the claim of the capture of Novoekonomichny. So these are all yeah, you can see I already calculated previously. I'm gonna turn it off. So yeah, that's the current situation. Ukrainians still captured back the same old place, and it's super weird that other places is such importance is falling, and then they are trying to recapture that small little town over in the Sumy front. But what do I know? Anyway, like I said just now, check out the DPA War channel for all the other analysis. I will do a lot more analysis and put it on DPA War channel. So this channel here, we only do frontline changes nowadays. The analysis will be all on DPA War channel. So today I did a bit more because I know some of you guys don't watch the SITREP or whatnot. So I do a bit more so that I give some context about the frontline changes here. So the Ukrainians captured 0.78 square kilometers at the Sumy and Sumy front region. So the Russians captured yesterday they captured 19.1 square kilometers. So just for context, 14.07 plus 4.59 plus 8.15 plus 0.29 plus 1.226. So the total area captured is 28.36 square kilometers. So this definitely helps to cover the lack of frontline change the day before. So everything is still on the 20 square kilometers range. So that's the frontline changes report. So anyway, thank you for watching. Check out the the Thailand Cambodian conflict SITREP day 1 and day 2 it provides all the context that you need to continue to watch the future sit reps the happening in the Cambodian Thailand situation. So I'm not sure how long it will go, but it looks like the conflict is still ongoing, it's still very fierce. So yeah, so definitely a bit more to come. So watch the day 1, day 2 sit rep to help you get some context. And yeah, so that's it. Hopefully I press the stop recording, this actually gets saved and not crashed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next update.